Welcome to Leadership, an advanced Toastmaster club for leadership development. We are one of the top 5 clubs globally. I am Noka Wenkosi, your sergeant at arms for today's meeting. Our club mission is that we provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in great confidence and personal growth. Our statement as a club, Leadership Speak, is that we are a premier club for experienced Toastmasters to become better self-directed leaders. We are an advanced club focused primarily on leadership development in everything we do. Our timer has virtual hand raised, so we can all immediately see who is keeping the time. Thank you. Our Toastmaster of the day who will lead our meeting is Youselee Joseph. She has been a Toastmaster for more than 10 years. She is an economist by profession, and she is holding a position of a project manager. She embraced the mindset of getting ahead of time and always being ready of anything that comes her way. She has held all roles in a club executive committee, and she is an immediate past area director of her club. Let us applaud and welcome our Toastmaster of the day, Miss Youselee Joseph. Toastmaster of the day, over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Nokawe. Thank you for this great introduction. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you who join this club all around the world, from east to west and north to south. Welcome at this meeting at Leadership Speak. Welcome to our guests, and today I would like to welcome a special guest, the past international president of Toastmasters International, Toastmaster John. Dr. John, you are warm welcome at Leadership Speak, and we wish you to enjoy our meeting today.
Thank you very much.
Colleague Toastmasters and guests, the theme that I chose for this meeting today is proactive leadership. Proactive leadership is defined as the ability to create and implement of self-initiated, future-focused action, and those actions that are constantly supported to bring change for the benefit of any organization. As we are promoting proactive leadership here today, I bring to you 7 behaviors that a proactive leader could have. The first one is to be a visionary person. By scanning for change opportunity, you learn from the past to plan the future. The second behavior is to set effective and change-oriented goals. A proactive leader don't do things by accident. A proactive leader empower his or her team for the success of the group. The third behavior is anticipating and preventing problems. A proactive leader doesn't lose control even in the middle of crisis. Proactive leaders use their communication and problem-solving skills to adjust their position as needed. The fourth behavior is doing things doing different things and doing things differently by promoting innovation within their organization. The fifth behavior is take action. It is not simply about telling others what to do, it's also setting high standards for themselves and work diligently to meet those standards. And the sixth behavior is persevering, as leading is not one-shot action. So the proactive leaders work to build resilience that make their organization more strong and better prepared for any unexpected setback. And the last one, of course, you achieve great results. Today, proactive leaders as well are surrounding themselves by talented people. As today, I am surrounded by self-directed and talented members of Leadership Speak to make our 2 hours meeting today as a great learning experience. For that, I will call the first role player for today's meeting, Toastmaster Claudette Thomas, to present the toast on the theme. Toastmaster Claudette Thomas, the lead is yours.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Fellow Toastmasters and our honored guests. Today, we celebrate the essence of proactive leadership. This leadership style anticipates future challenges and opportunities and takes action to address them. It is a strategy and a mindset that propels us towards success. Proactive leaders don't just react, as we just heard. They seek ways to shape the future direction of their personal lives, organizations, or Toastmasters clubs. They are the catalysts of positive change, fostering collaboration, strategic planning, and innovation. The focus is on continuous improvement and growth, coupled with the emphasis on communication and adaptability. Proactive leaders are visionaries who plan and lead by example. Members of Leadership Speak and our guests, let us embrace and embody proactive leadership. It is not simply a choice, but an essential ingredient for personal and professional success. It is the key that unlocks our potential, propelling us towards our goals and shaping a better future for ourselves, our organizations, and Toastmasters clubs. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, please unmute your microphones, raise your glasses, and toast to proactive leaders. To
Proactive leaders.
Proactive leaders.
Proactive leaders.
Thank you. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Claudette Thomas. Proactive leadership is an essential ingredient for our personal and professional growth. It is essential to navigate challenges and foster culture of innovation, of change. Thank you for the toast, Toastmaster Claudette Thomas. And now we are moving to our next role player, the timer of today's meeting. As you can see, our timer has a hand raised so that all of you can see can see her. Our timer today is Toastmaster Irene Sadia. Toastmaster Irene Sadia think that the theme of today is incredibly timely. It is, if more people take the initiative to be proactive leaders, we can make our lives and communities experience better growth and undoubtedly flourish. Let's welcome our timer for today, Toastmaster Irene Sadia.
Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster of the day. My name is Irene Sadia, as you've heard, and I'm your timer this day. I shall put the time according to the times on the agenda. And at the end of every session, I will put the times in the chat box. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Irene. Now let's move on to our next role player, the grammarian of the day. I call to take the virtual lectern Toastmaster John Ojefo to present his role as grammarian.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Hello, fellow Toastmasters, guests, and visitors. My name is John Ojefo. I'm the grammarian for today. As grammarian, it is my responsibility to pay close attention to all speakers, listening attentively and carefully to their language usage. I will take note of any improper language as well as any outstanding words, quotes, sayings, and thoughts. As grammarian, it is also my responsibility to introduce the word of the day. The word for today's meeting, the word is visionary. It's a word that is both an adjective and a noun, meaning a person that is marked by vision and foresight. When used in sentences, first, as an adjective, visionary leaders think and plan ahead with imagination and wisdom. And as a noun, visionaries have original ideas about what the future will or could be like. Each speaker is encouraged to use the word of the day. I will give the grammarian's report when called upon during the meeting and also report on the usage of the word of the day. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Back to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster John Ojefo. Ladies and gentlemen, the word of the day is visionary. I encourage you all, speakers, evaluators, to try to use the word of the day during your presentation. Now it's time for our leadership speaker. During this week, I was asking myself how to present such speaker at this meeting today. Colleague Toastmasters and guests, our leadership speaker today is Toastmaster Brahm Memone, a visionary person. Is the kind who truly embrace today's theme, a proactive leader. Before I call Toastmaster Brahm Memone, I will call his evaluator, Toastmaster Deborah Walker, to read the speech objectives.
Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster. Brahm is working on this project from Presentation Mastery Level 3, the Inspire Your Audience project. The intent of this project is for him to present on a topic with the intent of inspiring you. Be very curious to hear how Brahm is going to inspire us this morning. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Deborah. Let's welcome our leadership speaker, the mastermind behind Leadership Speak Progress, Toastmaster Brahm Memone. The title of his speech is Take Action. Take Action, Toastmaster Brahm Memone. The lead is yours, sir.
Take charge. Madam Toastmaster of the day, it is take charge. Let us take charge of our lives. Why am I talking about taking charge of our lives or your Toastmaster journey? Well, there's simply this. You want to take charge because, ladies and gentlemen, our Toastmaster journey is fraught with a lot of things, but taking charge allows us to speak with confidence, conviction, credibility, all those things that make us a very good speaker. Plus, not only that, it allows us to think critically when we are putting our content together. That is what I'm talking about, taking charge right here in Toastmasters, because when you are able to do that in Toastmasters, you can do that outside of Toastmasters. I'm here, and I'm sure that you all are here to practice your skills and being able to speak with confidence. There's credibility in when you stand up. The people think you are a credible speaker. They won't listen. There's trust. And when they hear your content, there's critical thinking in the skills of putting together your content. So it makes sense, and I hope I will make sense today. Ladies and gentlemen, here's the thing about taking charge is that you have to put your hands on the driving seat of your life, of your Toastmaster journey, or in any organization that you're working in. Taking charge means the ability to making sure that you steer your car around those hairpin bends, because life is not a straight line. Your goals are never going to be attained in a straight line. You need to know how to steer this particular car right here around the hairpin bends. You need to know how to use the accelerator, the brake, and the clutch, and the gear shift. Those of you who know how to ride a manual car, you know what I mean, right? I love those cars. So, ladies and gentlemen, make powerful choices. Design and steer your life, your Toastmasters journey, so that you are able to speak with confidence. You're able to shift your effectiveness as a speaker. And what will happen is that you will accelerate your success as a speaker and as a leader, because leaders, when they speak, they need to be credible, and they need to understand that there's critical thinking involved in their speaking. So, ladies and gentlemen, tighten your seatbelt, because I'm going to tell you why we fail more often than not to be taking charge of our lives. And here's the thing. Our brains, now remember, our brains are wired primarily for survival reason. And because of that, this is the things that we tend to fall into, and this is a trap. And these are the barriers to taking charge of our lives. And the barriers are simply this. We dislike being accountable for anything. We dislike being responsible for anything. Because when we were growing up, in our schools, in our parents, or in any organization that we were involved in as we were growing up, we were told, be responsible, be accountable, otherwise, you'll be blamed, you'll be punished, you'll get not an A grade, but a D grade, not even a C grade, right? And so now when we are grown up and it's embedded in our subconscious mind, we tend to have reactive roles. We play reactive roles rather than proactive roles. We have difficulty in having a vision for our lives as to what lies ahead in our lives. So, ladies and gentlemen, these are the barriers to taking charge of our lives or being proactive in our lives. So now what do we do if that is the case when the road is closed? There is a few things. Fortunately, we are in Toastmasters, and there's quite a few things that we can do in Toastmasters to make sure that this road is not closed, that you, me, we all are accountable, responsible, and have proactive roles and open this road so that we can steer our car through and get to our goals of speaking. And it doesn't have to take years and years and years of in Toastmasters to do that. And here are a few things that we can do at Leadership Speak today. Number one thing is, of course, we are a community. Every club is a community. Now, this community of people, as you can see on the screen, and if you can put on the gallery view, you'll see that this community is made up of people, Toastmasters, and we have a vision for this community to be better self-directed leaders. Now, when I say a community, of course, when I tell people that I'm going on Saturday, I don't tell them I'm going to a Toastmasters club. What do I tell them? Which community am I going to? Well, I'm going to a club. I'm not going to a club. What do I tell them? Am I going to a club or not going to a club? Well, I tell them I'm not going to a club, even though they know I Toastmasters. I said I am going to join a study group that is studying communication and leadership skills. That is right. If you reframe where you are going every Saturday morning, for me it's Saturday morning, for you Saturday evening, whatever time it is, or wherever you are coming to a study group to study communication and leadership. That's the community you're joining. And so here you come along, whether you're a brand new member or you're already a member or you're thinking of becoming a member. It's like, why are you joining this community where they're studying communication and leadership skills? Why do you want to join this community? You're not joining a club. You're not clubbing here. So if the club has a vision, which is the study group, if the study group has a vision of being better self-directed leaders, then you come along. You have to understand that there's a common ground, a vision. So you have to be a visionary and you have to be proactive to make sure that you create a vision that fits in with the community that you're in, that is studying communication and leadership. And that is a zone of magic. When you create that zone of magic, you are able to put your hands on the steering wheel of that car that's going around the bends, and you are in charge, and you know where to take that car, and begin to learn when to press the accelerator, when to press the brake, when to press the clutch, when to shift the gear. That's the zone of magic that I'm talking of. So that you are doing that effortlessly. The why, the vision is so important in this community. So you know the direction that you're going in and how fast you can go. Ladies and gentlemen, once you've set the direction, then there's other externalized conditioning that you must overcome. And what are those external conditioning? Well, because we are in reactive roles and we've been taught, we are afraid of being accountable and responsible. We have this busyness that we are involved in so many different things that we lack clarity to understand what is it that I'm really doing here. There's lack of clarity when there's no vision. When you're not proactive, there's lack of clarity and there's lack of focus and there's poor time management. Every Saturday, I'm here at Leadership Speak. I have not missed a single meeting this year or the past year. The past year, I may have missed one. I'm very clear why I'm here. I'm very clear why this club was started. I'm very clear where this club needs to go and take its members along. We have a vision. So when you have a purpose and you begin to understand and have that self-awareness that where do I lack clarity? Where do I lack that time management? Am I being consistent? Am I committing and am I turning up on a consistent basis? Am I taking the stage on a consistent basis? That's when you grow. And if you're not able to do that, this is the conditioning that we have to overcome. It's because our brains are wired for survival, right? So what do you do in an advanced club like this? Well, here's the thing. Set aside time to reflect, plan, prepare, and practice your roles, whatever you're doing. And then you come on Thursday to say, can you help me? Which every Thursday at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. As you know, there's a training meeting. If you are not sure of your role, if you want to practice your speech, you are able to come in and you can get coaching from a round-robin evaluation from whoever is present. And I'm present in all of those training sessions, by the way. I haven't missed a single one. and use your calendar wisely to make sure that you know what your commitments are and you follow through. That creates trust. That is the beginning of being credible as a leader. Credibility is so important. Trust among your team members is very, very important. So when we have a problem with this, what do we do? What should we do is, we need to take charge. We need to be proactive. And in your mentor group, and you are all in a mentor group, except for the brand new members, there's 3 or 4 of them. They'll be put into mentor groups shortly. Ask your mentor group to help you along as well. And when you do this particular thing, what will happen is that you will be able to get rid of all that stuff eventually. It'll take some practice because this is the default mechanism, and you'll begin to get here. Now, what is the other external conditioning that we have to overcome because our brains are wired for survival and we are so distracted very easily is lack of accountability, which is the key core message of this particular thing is how do you get rid of lack of accountability, that the thing that stops you from doing what you have to do. Remember, the only person that is stopping you is you. And your accountability, the level of accountability and responsibility that you've taken in Toastmasters journey, especially at Leadership Speak. It's an advanced club. So what is that thing that you need to do? Again, it is very simple. In your mentor groups, get involved and ask for what you need to ask. And here's the thing. If you are not comfortable with a lot of people around you in a group, and it's only about 10, 15 people in each of the groups, ask somebody to be your buddy. You are in advanced, we are in an advanced club, so please ask for a buddy. Here's the thing: when I go to the gym every morning, I have a few buddies that I meet at the gym. If I don't have a buddy at the gym, I don't go. Sometimes when they are not going, I don't go. Why not? So a buddy is always good to have. It's a great idea to have, and especially when you're in a mentor group. It's like not only one person, there's like 5, 6, 10 people in your group. They can all encourage you. You can encourage each other. It's the ability to encourage each other to propel yourself forward with a vision. And when you do that, guess what happens? Well, simply, it's what happens that you begin to take charge. And in your mentor groups, this is what happens. And when you do that, guess what? This lack of accountability that's there will begin to disappear, and slowly you'll build that muscle of, yes, I can take charge, I can be proactive, I can have a vision, and I can propel my speaking faster because my hands are now on the steering wheel. And then the next thing that really gets in the way, ladies and gentlemen, and the final thing, which is really an internal state of affairs, is simply this. The self-doubts that happen when we stand up to speak. There's this self-doubt in our heads, in our subconscious minds. We are saying to ourselves, am I worthy? What will these people think? Will they reject me? Who's going to validate me? Who's going to accept me? Right? And we have all those thoughts that are happening in the subconscious mind that affects our performance and the amount of time we put in the practice and the time we put into preparation and so on. All these things cloud our mind, which is, again, the lack of clarity, which we've mentioned before. Right? The imposter syndrome. I've seen well-to-do Toastmasters and speakers professionally out in the real world suddenly get that they're standing in front of the audience and suddenly something happens. And what was in the subconscious mind suddenly springs forward into the conscious mind, and they start to shrink and say, wonder, what the heck am I doing here? Am I worthy? Have you seen that? Have you felt that? I do. I have before. And it's constant practice. Whenever I'm on the stage, it's a constant practice to overcome these things. And therefore, we are afraid to take charge. We are afraid to be accountable. We are afraid to be responsible for where we are headed, ladies and gentlemen. And so I urge you, use your mentor groups. If you're not using them well, begin to develop that courage. It is an internal thing. I may have self-doubt. I may be shaking in my shoes when I stand up to speak. Of course, you are doing your first time icebreaker in a community club. Or if you are here and I'm asking you to do a 20-minute speech instead of the usual 5 to 7 minute speech, have the courage. right? Have the courage to stand up and say, okay, I will do that speech, and begin to prepare weeks in advance, and have that courage to be vulnerable, have that bravery to say, in spite and despite of whatever's going on internally, I will do it. And when you do that and you become vulnerable, that is when you're able to step forward through your fears and begin to take charge of your life. It's all internal. And even if at that point in time you're still not able to do this particular thing, guess what? Take charge by getting involved in your mentor groups. Right here. They will help you. Which means in Toastmasters, we have to really be vulnerable and open. And when we are vulnerable and open, things begin to happen. So, ladies and gentlemen, that will disappear with that. And that's how we take charge in Toastmasters. When we have a purpose, when we manage our time well, and we are planning and preparing in advance, when we have mentors and we are in a mentor group, and we have that courage to step forward despite any fears that come up automatically, the stage is yours and you begin to take charge. That's when you begin to have the confidence, because it's a muscle, and you do it consistently, you begin to create that muscle of being confident, the conviction when you stand up to speak, the credibility with which you speak, that creates the trust with your audience. It's so necessary, and it happens here at Leadership Speak. This is how we are designed this club. And this is the way you begin to, when you're putting your content together and the evaluations that you get, with that, you begin to have critical thinking, and therefore you are seen as a leader. This is the reason. This is the only reason why we call ourselves Leadership Speak. Not Leadership Speaks, but Leadership Speak. Speak as a leader, be heard as a leader, and speak to others in this group, this study group, not a club, this study group, as if they're all leaders and you are a leader. It is building a muscle. Are you building that muscle? Are you taking charge? Are you being proactive? Are you a visionary? Get in the driving seat once more, ladies and gentlemen. Make powerful choices, and shift your effectiveness and begin to take charge. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, the world is yours. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you to our leadership speaker today, Toastmaster Brahm Memone, for your speech. I took a lot of notes, and you have presented to the audience what they don't have to do and what we should do to become proactive leaders and take charge. We should have purpose. We have to manage our time. We have to be courageous. And as well, the only person in front of us that block us to success is ourselves. Thank you, Toastmaster Brahm Memone, for your message. And now, and congratulations for your presentation. Now we are moving to our first speaker for today, Toastmaster Carine Baptiste. Before I call Toastmaster Carine Baptiste, I will call her evaluator, Toastmaster Sundar.
All board will be up to the project. Toastmaster Carine Baptiste. The purpose of the speech is the member to practice using a story within a speech or giving a speech that is a story. Timer, please note that timing is 5 to 7 minutes. All the best, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sundar. Toastmaster Carine Baptiste is, according to Toastmaster Carine Baptiste, proactive leadership can work in team work because these skills require a good organization, communication, and adaptability. Today, she will present a speech about creativity where each one can develop these skills. And the title of her speech is Be Agile. Be Agile, Toastmaster Carine Baptiste. The lead is yours, Toastmaster Baptiste.
Dear member, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests. Have you ever been in a difficult situation? When I was 8 years old, my teacher asked us to create and to write up a creative and imaginative story. I was completely blocked. I hated this exercise. I couldn't write anything about it. In order to avoid having a blank page, I asked my mother to help me. How to be creative? My mother wrote the whole story for me. A few days later, my teacher noticed and realized I had not written this story. She asked me to write again another story without my mother's help. She couldn't grade this exercise. I was completely disappointed. I couldn't do this. Unfortunately, my teacher didn't give me any tips, advice, any solutions. I asked my mother, why did you write this whole story instead of helping me to find solution? She didn't reply. She stayed quiet. She wanted to help me, even if it was not the best way. A few days later, she took me to the local library every Wednesday morning in my city. There was a workshop called Told Tales, where someone told stories for children. I remembered my mother would leave for 1 hour, and I could listen to the reader intently. There were stories about castles, king, princes, knights, magical forests. And I remember the reader would play each of the characters using vocal variety, gesture, body language, and would dress up wearing different costumes while interacting with us. I was absolutely fascinated by all stories, and I could listen to him for hours. At this moment, I remembered my teacher, Carine. Did you remember? You need to create another story without your help from your mother. And from this moment, I decided to create a story. It was a story of a witch who lived in a country, in a castle countryside, without family and friends. She has only dogs, horses, cats. She scared people, and people were afraid of her. Blah, 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 blah. Once I finalized my story, my mother asked me to show it to her, but I refused because she didn't want to make some changes in my story. I would like to show my story to my teacher. I had managed to do by myself without her help. And I would like to do the same exercise with other students. My teacher read carefully the story. she told me, "How do you manage to create an imaginative story?" I replied to her, "My mom took it me in a local library where someone read absolutely incredible stories, and I like it. And I suggested her to create a story with all students in order to make all stories together and to play the story in front of the parents at the end of the year. My teacher thought several minutes, was a little bit surprised, and she said, "This is a great idea. You should ask this idea with all those students because this is your project." Finally, I decided to create several groups of 4 or 5 people, when each of one decided to think about the theme. The theme was Walt Disney cartoon, and each one needs to think about a story from a main character. This successful project brought me, finally, we can be creative without nothing, and with all our help from your students and your creativity. I remember this quotation to conclude from Albert Einstein. "Creativity is an intelligent having fun." Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Carine Baptiste, for this wonderful speech on creativity. Now we are moving on to our next speaker, Toastmaster Sandra Valks. Before I call Toastmaster Sandra, I will call her evaluator to present the speech objective, Toastmaster Sabnam Saiyed.
Good evening, everyone present, fellow Toastmasters and guests, and especially Toastmaster Sandra Valks. Good evening from my side. The purpose of this project is to learn or review basic methods for writing a speech with a defined purpose and to present a well-organized speech on any topic. And Toastmaster Sandra wanted me to concentrate if she was able to entice any humor in her speech or not. All the best, and over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Saiyed. Our compassionate and humorous queen of stream talk truly does agree with the theme of today. She feels that tension and stress of this rapid response can also be balanced out with some humor. Of course, Toastmaster Sandra. Help me welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Toastmaster Sandra with her speech title, "Must We Be Funny All the Time?" Toastmaster Sandra, the lead is yours.
Really? Must we be funny all of the time? Sheesh, it just gets exhausting sometimes. You know, it's just too much. Or is it a lovely way to embrace authentic communication wherever you are, at work or home or play? Think about it. Consider this. According to Romain Gary, quote, "Humor is an affirmation of dignity. An affirmation of dignity, a declaration of man's superiority. Oof, I would need to be visionary to get that word correct. The man's superiority to all that befalls him." You might ask then, does humor have to be self-deprecating, like, "Silly Sandra, silly"? Well, no, not necessarily. Not necessarily at all. Must humor share human realities? Probably. We find the humor in all of the stuff that befalls all of us. It's our very common connection. So why add humor? Now here's another quote. Sabnam's going to love this. Mignon McLaughlin says, "A sense of humor is a major defense against minor troubles." So you might ask, Sandra, how come you like to have joy and laughter? Because I've had my share of troubles, just like you, and you too. We need something to lighten the load. So how wonderful when we are able to laugh at that constant litany of minor troubles. Well, how could we do that, really? Do laughter and dignity really fit together? I know sometimes people have said, Sandra, you can't be silly all the time. Well, when I'm going down into the throes of hell, Winston Churchill said, keep going. And the only way I could do that was to think, I can't believe this could be happening. So I'm going to give you three examples of just everyday life where humor can help. First, I'm going to go to that very serious place, that boardroom. Do I know how to behave in a boardroom? Well, yes, I do. Unfortunately, yes, I do. Been there, been proper. But you know, when you get into a serious meeting and sometimes it becomes troublesome and people start arguing back and forth, and pretty soon the leader has to do something and he says, settle down. Or the visionary leader might do this. Okay, silence. We're going to take 2 minutes to just close our eyes. Seriously, we're going to close our eyes. And then that visionary leader could lead them through just 2 minutes, saying, okay, take a breath, take another deep breath, and another deep breath. Subtle. Now I just want you to pretend you're a tree. Just pretend you're a tree. And imagine you're out there in nature and you're the tree and there's those little chipmunks going. And they tickle because you're the tree. Up and down they go, up and down they go. Now, nobody has to share what that vision is. But can you imagine as they go back to their breath and back to the meeting, the private little chuckle? Now the visionary leader can move us into facilitation and discussion. That's what I think humor does. Now, think about sales. 40 years in the sales business, life insurance, and I, in our office, was the star salesman. Yeah, 40 years ago, we were all called salesmen. Being the star of the office and being a little silly, even when I was in pain, some of the new ones would come in. And I remember Brian coming into my office. He was backing in like bum first. I said, what are you doing? What are you doing? He says, coming in for a kick in the butt. I need something to get me going. That's what it's about. Coming in for a kick in the butt and a laugh. He needed it. I needed it. Here's another time. I had a new peer who came in from the city, and we decided to work together. We went out to the country to a fire station with the volunteer firemen. They didn't want to be there. We were all set up for a group RSP presentation. So smooth. And then what happened? They didn't want to be there. The fire alarm went off. They went and they got on their jackets and off they went. And we laughed all the way through coffee at the restaurant, thinking, oh, there's a way. And at the funeral, in grieving, I got chuckling even in my son's funeral. When he was in the casket, we found out from his wife that they had put the boy's favorite daddy shirt on under his buttoned up shirt. So one by one, sometimes 2 by 2, up we'd go and unbutton a couple of the buttons. And they really did put that funny shirt under there, and then we'd button it back up. and my mother in her casket. We're all laughing and crying all at the same time because we're remembering, and we needed that humor. But there was Mom. And I don't know how there was room for her to fit in the casket, quite honestly. My sister and I got there laughing. There was Mother in her beautiful suit and her gold dancing shoes and her Robin Hood hat. And there was a stuffed kitty cat because she loved kitty cats and notes under the pillow. We got to laughing how our family can clutter anything up very quickly. Humor helps us get through the tough times at work, at home, and at play. That's what I discovered. I want, in closing, you to consider the humor as the actual affirmation of dignity. Affirmation of dignity and the declaration of men's superiority to overcome all of that. For me, I've discovered that going joyfully back to my childhood innocence is where this adult matured. I invite you to bring in the generosity of humor to your life, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Sandra. Yes, we can be funny all the time because being funny and enjoying life, no matter what happens, will help us get through tough time. It's an affirmation of dignity. Thank you, Toastmaster Sandra, for this message. Thank you so much. Now it's time to call our next speaker, Toastmaster Hannah Schmidt. Before I introduce Toastmaster Hannah, I will call her evaluator to present the speech objectives, Toastmaster Rivero.
Thank you very much, Youselee. Today, Hannah will be presenting from Visionary Communications Level 2, Understanding Communication Style. She'll be sharing in a story her primary communication style and her impact both professionally and personally. Will it be supportive? Will it be analytical, direct, or initiating? Let's find out. This is her speech, Communication, the Lifeline. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ray. Toastmaster Hannah Schmidt will speak about her ways of effective communication. For her, communication is the alpha and omega of any success. And we know as proactive leaders that good communication is key for leaders. Toastmaster Hannah Schmidt, communication, the lifeline. Toastmaster Hannah Schmidt, communication, the lifeline, the leader's job.
Do you realize that your attempt at verbally communicating happened on your very first day on Earth? As a baby, crying was your style of communicating, and its purpose was to make a connection. Communication is the lifeline of love. It nourishes the roots and blossoms, the flowers of trust. The author is unknown to me. Madam Toastmaster, talking and chatting was my forte at school, and I was appropriately called the chatterbox. I was spontaneous and energetic. I just loved communicating with my classmates and schoolmates. As they say, I could talk a hind leg of a horse until my spontaneity got the best of me. I had entrusted to a so-called friend my deepest feelings and secrets, and she blurted them out. This had an immense impact on me. After that, my flowers of trust wilted. I stopped communicating. I became introverted and I was hiding in my cocoon. I was too shy to blossom in conversations. When spoken to, my roots were wilted and I only listened half-heartedly. I switched to a selective hearing mode. But fast forward. When joining Toastmasters, I realized communication is an essential. No, it is an integral part to my learning experience to become a successful and visionary communicator, and with it, a leader. Jessica, a very good friend and mentor of mine, she called me. She says, Hannah, let us choose a Toastmaster path and find your communication style. Let us complete the competency questionnaire. There you are, Hannah. Your path is visionary communication, and your communication style is initiating. Jessica, initiating for me? Are you certain? Will this ever reconnect my roots and cause my trust to blossom again? Will I find lifeline to again freely communicate? Yes, Hannah, absolutely. You now have that vision to succeed, and you shall step up. You shall bust your cocoon. And surely, I now again love to connect and communicate and to be a storyteller. I have adopted this mode of communication with and to present my Toastmaster speeches in such a manner that I have achieved or reached out the district finals of the International Speech Contest. Initiating the emotional connection with storytelling has created a special bond between me and the listener. Exposing my vulnerability and seeking understanding, that goes with it. Yet, I can now speak freely again. I have bust my cocoon. Hannah, yes, Jessica, you are now eager to initiate spontaneous and friendly conversations as you have relearned to love interacting with people, to love communicating and sharing their stories in a friendly manner. Oh, at times I am too energetic, too spontaneous. Yet I prefer a stimulating, personal, and friendly environment where I am motivated with what I initiate, and I am supportive of my fellow Toastmaster achievements to reach their communication goals. I don't let them settle for less. I have recently relocated to a senior citizen complex. I had the desire to get acquainted with the residents and thus spontaneously organize a housewarming get-together. We now communicate on a regular, friendly basis, getting to know each other. Communication is the alpha and the omega of any success story. For me, it has become extremely vital to select the correct way of communication, and there are so many of them. The written word, the telephone, the WhatsApp, the emails, the social media, and many more. Yet, with these, you can never hear nor see how your message was perceived. Therefore, my channel of communication is the oral one, the direct one, the face-to-face. By starting a communication and sending that message, by watching the receiver's reaction, I immediately, I can perceive whether that message was well received or not. All communication starts with the sender. Remember that babies cry at birth. Let us have a vision. Let us get together. Let us communicate together. Communication nourishes the roots and blossoms of the flowers of trust, which is the key to education, to understanding, to peace, and the capability of influencing change. Let communication be your lifeline. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Anna Schmidt, for your message. Communication, the lifeline. You showed to us how communication help you during your life, and especially now when you are having senior citizen complex, how you use communication to get through that. Congratulations for your message, Toastmaster Hannah. Now we are moving to our next speaker, Toastmaster Mohammad Asif Said. Before I introduce the speaker, I will call his evaluator to present the speech objective, Toastmaster Nokawen Kosi.
Thank you so much, Madam Toastmaster of the Day. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm delighted to evaluate Toastmaster Asif Sayed. The purpose of his speech is for him to apply his understanding of social media to enhance and establish a new social media presence. The purpose of his speech is to share some aspects of his experience establishing or enhancing a social media presence. All the best, TM Side Asif. Thank you. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Nkesi. Toastmaster Asif Sayed will present a speech on social media strategy. He will sharing his own experience on enhancing personal brand using social media strategy. Toastmaster Mohammad Asif Sayed, social media strategy. Social media strategy, Toastmaster Mohammad Asif Sayed.
For dear fellow Toastmasters leaders, most of us are on social media, and while we are used to being on social media, making daily some posts, making connections on social media, sharing our contents, events, what happens is that this is all creating an image about you. And when you have an image about you, people have thought processes or they develop perceptions about you. And that's the way it will impact your engagement. And you know very well that your own personal brand depends on social media also, because that is an integral part of your personal brand. Now imagine yourself when you see a post, let's say on Facebook or on Instagram, somebody is enjoying a holiday. What comes into your mind? Are you also happy? Are you feeling, or enjoying about it? Or sometimes, human nature is that you feel a kind of a jealousy. After all, we are all human beings, isn't it? So it's very important that the kind of image we want to showcase to the world, that is the image even your audiences are getting into their head. How do we know that? Maybe, first of all, what we need to do is develop a strategy. And strategy, whenever we talk about it, means options. For example, we start with our objective. Why did you come on social media? Was it to make more connections, make more friends? Or was it to, pass on some message? Or was it to, share all your events, like you're gone on a holiday, or there's some wedding, such things like a party? Or is it that you want to, develop your personal brand, or you want to do marketing for your products and services? What's that objective which you have with that, the objective with which you came on social media? And once you have closed on to your objectives, is then that when you start searching for the relevant platform. And why the relevant platform? Because each platform has a unique set of audiences depending on the kind of features which are available. Like, for example, Facebook and LinkedIn are both different. LinkedIn attracts most of the professional people. So that is what it was meant for. Nowadays, it has become a bit like Facebook, everybody posting a lot about their own personal matters. But that is how we decide upon which platform is actually going to help you to achieve your objectives. And once you're clear with your objectives and the kind of a platform which will really help you to achieve your objectives, engagement, or maybe posting videos, or maybe getting a proper MIS report out of, like, okay, how many people have actually engaged with your post. Also, depending on the kind of a cost implications, some of the options or features are priced. I mean, you need to pay some cost for it. People think that, you have 1,000 friends or connections on social media, and whatever you post to on the social media, it's all going to include this 1,000 people. No, it doesn't happen that way. There are algorithms built in. It just shows your post to only a few people, but it's only when you pay some money, that's where the social media platform, enhances your message and, spreads it across to a targeted audience. Hence, it's very, very important to have the social media strategy because, number one, your efforts are required. You are spending some money depending on the kind of marketing message you are developing. All this will result in more profits or more reach on social media if you have adopting a planned effort. One more important thing is discipline. How regularly will you be posting on the social media? Because see, people, sometimes you make up, you're quite energetic, just like, how you want to go to a gym and initially you have a lot of energy to go to the gym. That's the same way, people start posting on social media. And then after some time, that efforts get diminished. And then what happens? And you say, oh, I'm not getting too much of, my objectives are not getting accomplished. Well, the reason is simply because you were not disciplined enough, not regularly posting your content so that your audiences will really get hooked to your content which you are delivering or you intend to deliver. Hence, it's very, very important not only to develop a creative, engaging content, but also post your content on a scheduled basis. That creates for your audiences a kind of it's just like your serials, TV serials. When there's a schedule, right? You get hooked to it, and then you specifically allot time to go and watch that particular serial on certain period of time, isn't it? That's how regularly posting your content will really help you to get your message across to the relevant audience. Now, having said this, it's very, very important when you develop your social media strategy is that now you may be on several platforms, let's say YouTube as well as LinkedIn, as well as Facebook or Instagram. Having consistency across these platforms about your profile, that will also, again, transmit a cohesive message or an image about you across various platforms.
because you can't be, very, very a kind of a professional corporate look like, and on social media, I mean, like Facebook, you might be having a blast party kind of a profile. That would be inconsistent, isn't it? So in summary, it's very important to have a social media strategy because it's an extension of your brand image, and with consistent efforts, selecting your objectives for why you came to a social media platform, selecting the right platform, making contents regularly and posting them regularly on a schedule will help you to achieve more output, more results from the social media. Hope you all are definitely going to, inculcate this, some of these pointers which I've shared with you. It's really helped me, and that's what will definitely help you as well. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Asif Saiyed, for this informational speech about using social media presence. You present to us that you should have intention for being on social media, and you talk about course and discipline that we should have when we are on social media. The next speaker is Toastmaster Lindia Wanjiku. Before I call her, I will call her evaluator, Claudette Thomas, to present the speech objectives.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Lydia will be speaking from the Dynamic Leadership Path, Level 1, Project 2, Writing a Speech with a Purpose. Lydia will deliver, or is expected to deliver, a speech that is effective and well-defined on any topic. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Claudette Thomas. Toastmaster Lydia Hummingbird, Toastmaster Lydia.
The hummingbird. The hummingbird. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, the story of the hummingbird, it's about a huge forest that was being consumed by fire. All the animals, they walk out of the forest and watch the forest burn. And they felt very powerless. They could do nothing except a small bird called hummingbird. What did the hummingbird do? The hummingbird, as small as it is, it went to the stream and was able to pick a drop of water from the stream, and it was running very fast, back and forth, and trying to do the much it could do. What was happening in the meantime? All the other huge animals were just watching. And they were asking the hummingbird, what do you think you're doing? And the hummingbird was telling the other animals, I am doing the much I can do. It's small, but this is the best I can do. You may wonder, where am I driving to? It's all about the climate change. There's so much emission of carbon dioxide that is being emitted to the atmosphere. And what does it do? It is forming a blanket layer on our beautiful earth. And there's a very big problem of the energy from the sun coming to the earth and back to the atmosphere because of that layer. The late Professor Wangari Maathai said that nature is unforgiving. When you destroy nature, it will destroy you. And true to her words, slowly, after some years, human beings are destroying nature. And what are we seeing now? Increased change of weather. There's drought, we have floods, we have cold temperatures, we have heat waves. All that is happening because there's a lot that has happened to the climate. What do we do now? When we come closer home, that is Horn of Africa, we have close to over 18 million people who are suffering. They have food insecure because of drought. And fellow Toastmasters, as the world is grappling because of this problem, what can we do in order for us to be able to reduce the emission of carbon dioxide to the atmosphere so that we can have the inhalation of air up and down without having that blanket that is being formed there because of the carbon dioxide? There's something that we can all start doing. I have purposed to start planting trees. To date, I've planted with some other group of women close to 300 trees. Fellow Toastmasters, you can also start by managing the wastes, disposal of the waste, planting even flowers in your house, planting trees, going green, walking short distances instead of driving, because our cars again are emitting. There's a lot of emission from our cars. When we walk or when we use our bicycles, we reduce the carbon that is being emitted in the atmosphere. It doesn't matter what small and best action that we do. Back to the story of the hummingbird. What do you plan to do? We have some key takeaways. We can do that small action, and the best action to reduce the emission of the carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. We can even start using recycled bottles. We are not supposed to use we reduce the plastic bottles that we are using so that we don't start throwing bottles left, right, and center. And also, we can become the ambassadors to talk about climate. What are we supposed to do? We tell others what they're supposed to do. Incorporate our walking instead of driving small distances. And that way, we will reduce the carbon dioxide that is being emitted in the atmosphere. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, what is that small and best action that you plan to do to reduce the emission of carbon in the atmosphere, and you become like that hummingbird and not like the huge, big animals that were just watching the forest go down because of the fire? Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Lydia. Our small action could have great impact on the atmosphere. If we start to manage our waste, use recycled bottles, and work more, we can work for the positive impact. Now, it's time to call our last speaker today, Toastmaster Nicole Miller-Douglas. Before I introduce the speaker, I call her evaluator, Mohammad Azimuddin, to present the speech objectives. Toastmaster Azimuddin.
is not in the room, you can continue with somebody
He
else.
is in the room. I see him.
He's gone from his computer.
Okay. Toastmaster Nicole Miller will present a speech. I will read a speech objective for her. She will present a speech on, it will be her first speech here at Leadership Speak. It will be an icebreaker speech. She will learn the basic way to present herself in front of an audience. And she will have 4 to 6 minutes to present her speech. Toastmaster Nicole Miller, the lead is yours.
Where are you going, Nicole? This was a question I've been reflecting on just before summer 2023. I'm a visionary, of course. That is why I started my journey in my community club to pursue a visionary communication pathway. But where are you really going in your Toastmasters journey, Nicole? I intend to go to a place of self-actualization. My self-directed questions led me to a place of wanting, 1, to get to the right station, 2, to take the right mode of transportation, and 3, travel at the right speed. Study.com states that Maslow's hierarchy of needs is based on the concept that a person's attempt at fulfilling their needs is a motivation theory. The site further states that, according to Maslow, these needs can create internal pressures that can influence a person's behavior. My self-directed questions continue to coincide with this underlying concept of Maslow's theory. That is to say, I've been experiencing internal pressures that have been influencing my behavior. This behavioral change started with an email notification that sparked my curiosity when I saw the advert of the Global Leadership Impact Summit. I wanted to be impacted on a global level, and I want to make impact on a global level as well. I attended the Global Leadership Summit sessions as often as I could. I did so while working at my desk. I was listening to something that was motivating me to take more action. These leadership building sessions were exactly what I needed at a juncture when I felt like a burnt out vice president education in my community Toastmasters club. I am currently pursuing the visionary communication path in that club. The vision that I have for members' growth was not being realized, and I realized that it was impacting me negatively. I felt less than a visionary leader. I felt less motivated to pursue my own goals. Nevertheless, I still had a strong desire to assist in my club. But I realized that before I can do so, I need to get on a path of self-actualization. I realized that I need to go to a place where there are others pursuing the same self-directed leadership. In so doing, as a true visionary leader, I would be able to go the way in order to show others the way. During the summit sessions, I started connecting with some Toastmasters outside of Jamaica, like Toastmaster Mariana, distinguished Toastmaster Brahm, among others. I am reinvigorated to take a different approach to my self-growth and helping others at the same time. Personally, I'm working on improving my performance in job interviews for a higher position. That was one of my original goals when I started my Toastmasters journey. So my intention is to work on my personal brand in leadership speak as I pursue the leadership development pathway. While as a visionary leader, I will continue to offer my service in my other Toastmasters club. My intention is to improve the standard of my community club in stages to become a more advanced club where members are more self-directed. On the personal side, the job positions that I'm aiming for will require me to be able to draft and present speeches at a faster rate than I am currently doing. So I'm challenging myself through Leadership Speak to do so. This would reflect that underlying thought of great minds think alike, and therefore, as I pursue to myself to be the best and the greatest of myself, a visionary leader who has refined exemplary leadership and communication skills, that is where I am going in Leadership Speak. Over to you, Madam Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Nicole Miller. And that was our last speaker for today's meeting. Thank you for presenting yourself to Leadership Speak members, a visionary leader, a self-directed leader as well. Thank you all. Now it's time for the timer to put the time in the chat and the Zoom master to launch the poll for the best speaker.
Oh, a question. We don't have Nicole listed in this poll. Oh, yes, we do. Do we? Okay.
Yes.
I didn't see that. My mistake.
Thanks to the timer and to the Zoom master. Colleague Toastmasters and guests, now I will give back the lead to the general evaluator so that we can have feedback on how we do during this meeting and also how to improve for the next time. I call the general evaluator, Vinod Paniker. Mr. General Evaluator, the lead is yours.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster of the day, Youselee. My evaluators are ready with the evaluation. And before getting into the evaluation, let me talk something about the theme that I personally like. One of my favorite speaker, Les Brown, calls vision as mind sight. And he says that normal people have eyesight. They can only see and think what they can see with their eyes. But real leaders have mind sight. They can actually think in future and make it happen. That is what we are doing with our amazing club. The first evaluator that I would be calling would be evaluating the toast. And when asked about the theme, she said, experience has taught me that to succeed, you must be strategic and anticipate change. An apt saying that comes to mind on waiting and then reacting is, you snooze, you lose. Please put your hands together to welcome the coffee queen from Kenya, the ravishing Rozy Rana. The screen is yours. Rozy.
Thank you very much, Mr. General Evaluator. Fellow Toastmasters and especially Claudette, a toast has the objective of honoring an event or a person. Today, our theme was proactive leadership, and Claudette, You truly honored proactive leadership by highlighting several aspects. So your content was beautiful as you spoke about proactive leadership being a strategy or mindset that leads to success, how it's about visionaries, how it's about planning, how it's about propelling yourself through goals. So all in all, you beautifully structured the content. You also delivered with a very clear structure, starting with, showing you were delivering a toast, going into these elements, and had a very nice, short, succinct toast when you asked us to toast to proactive leadership. When you use 2 words, it's very clear, very succinct. You invited us to unmute, and I thought you delivered your toast extremely well. You said to me you are learning how to deliver a toast. I think you've done it beautifully and successfully. Now, areas that I think that would take your toast from good to great. Well, one, because a toast has this celebratory tone, it's about honoring. I would strongly recommend, and you always do, learn your content, but it was evident to me that you continued to read. When you do that, you lose the eye contact with your audience, and it takes away from being in a tone that is celebratory, because it becomes more, your tone goes down as you look down. So do try and look up, look at us, look into the screen. And when you do, again, because it's in honor, try and smile a bit more, try and have a more conversationary tone. I think if you do that, you have all the elements of a toast. So you've won 3/4 of the battle in trying to learn the toast. You have it all. Enjoyed it. Beautiful content, beautiful structure. Just try and smile a bit more. Try and avoid reading. And if you must have simpler language, because your words, your language really are exemplary and commendable, but if it's easier to remember, try and simplify it. Congratulations, and I look forward to more of your toasts. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rozy. I will be giving my comments for all the evaluators just after the evaluation. You mentioned about the structure, you mentioned about how succinct she was. For me, what I look in an evaluation is the analysis and the point of improvement. Amazingly, you pointed out that when you read, the eye contact is missing. The speaker can smile more and have a conversational tone. Thank you very much, Toastmaster Rozy, for that. Now we will be calling our second evaluator, who would be evaluating the Toastmaster of the day for today. And what he says is about the theme. He says that I believe that proactive leadership is essential for organizational growth, as this empowers team members. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome our passionate Paramjit.
Thanks, General Evaluator Vinod Baniko. And good evening, everyone, all the Toastmasters and the guests, particularly Youselee. Youselee, today I will use TMOD for your evaluation. So the first thing is timeline from the T. And the theme of the meeting was proactive leadership. And Brahm's speech was about take charge. You took the charge the moment the role was assigned to you. And you were on the heel starting the same day, and every write-up was ready. You had already made one WhatsApp group to deal with everyone, talking to everyone. Your write-up was ready by Wednesday, and everything we could do it, putting on the Zoom as well as on the social media, the timeline, and you were contacting, adding people to the group as you were watching very clearly the Easy Speak. So that was the before even the meeting started. That was your wonderful, I would say, engagement for every time. Now, second comes opportunities. You had second is managing difficult situation. When we are Toastmaster of the day and any role, we have different situations where we have to manage. And you did it very well before the meeting, even during the meeting also when there was a speaker change, as well as when you were looking for somebody to help you for making the write-up in a way that it can be very presentable on the presentable on the media as well as in the Zoom. And you also help as well as thanks everyone and offer gratitude to everyone for their work. And you never looked at it as a problem rather than challenges to overcome. Now for the opportunities, you have already opportunities. You have every opportunity for improvement, as well as you did a lot of things behind the scene, which was the way you communicated with everyone. We were not knowing that you had taken so much time behind with the help of Carine and Brahm to take over the charge of the meeting. Now, the next point, which I would like to say about the delivery, the major part about delivery is a Toastmaster. You took in the charge and you were there at exact sharp 5. You were there. You messaged everyone, the room is open. You shared agenda in the meeting, in the WhatsApp group for everyone. And you were following the WhatsApp group very attentively all through the meeting, taking charge of everything. You're very active and helping the role players also. And the best thing, you were aware that there's a past president in the meeting and you welcomed him also very well. And he also reciprocated with the same gesture. Now, you also informed everyone in the chat about the changes, whatever they're going on. Now that there's a point for improvement, which I think your pace of speaking is with a lot of pauses in between, that loses the energy. In the beginning, it was losing the energy. The energy doesn't come. And I think, as far as I understood, your eye contact was not there because a few of the times, because you were maybe reading the theme about the theme. This is what I understood. And so the eye contact was missing something. You were looking at the different cameras, I saw, maybe different devices. And there was something, a hitch, particularly with the time. I think you started the theme and then you talk about timer. I think with all this, you have communicated everything very well with everyone. For all the introduction as well as synopsis of the speech for everyone. That is wonderful. By just putting your smile, energy, and a small let of lots of pauses, it will make you wonderfully. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Paramjit, for that wonderful evaluation. I love acronyms. When someone comes with acronym and is able to do that, only one suggestion from my side is, when you come with acronym and there were 4 acronyms, TMOD, divide your time in such a way that you get time to summarize. Because when it was read, you came with the suggestion, and I believe if it would have been a little bit earlier, you could have summarized in a good way. But all in all, it was a very nice suggestion and very nice observation. Good offerings. Thank you, Toastmaster Paramjit. Now we will kickstart with our speakers. And for our leadership speaker, the person who's going to come now and evaluate, she says that proactive leadership means taking initiative. She is a champion speaker of our club, not only of our club, our area, our division, and our district. Please put your hands together to welcome the champion speaker, Dashing Deborah. Deborah, the screen is yours.
Thank you very, very much. Brahm, it is my pleasure to give you an evaluation today on your leadership presentation. I'm going to send all of this to you in an email following the presentation, so no need to write any of it down. I've divided this up into 3 components. The first one is, what did I feel that you did well? Your visual opening was very good. The lightning strike absolutely caught my attention. Excellent eye contact, not reliant on notes. The quality of the content, first rate. I particularly love some of the sentences such as, there is a lack of clarity when there is no vision. The only person who is stopping you is you. And when you are open and vulnerable, things start to happen. I felt those were truly inspiring statements in your presentation. What are some things that you can try for a future presentation? One of my suggestions is, at one point in your speech, you had the phrase, you have to. Phrases like that can actually come across as preachy, even if it's not intended to be that way. And a way to help avoid that is to substitute a you-focused question instead of that. For example, you could ask the audience, when was the last time you ... Another thing I would suggest for future is you said to the audience at one point, I'm going to tell you. And you could actually rephrase that from an I statement to a you statement, because it isn't about what I'm going to give you. It's actually about what the audience is going to gain from hearing you. So for example, you could say, over the next 10 minutes, you are going to discover ... Then that actually can lead into, for these longer presentations, providing a roadmap. And a roadmap can help give structure to the speech. Sandra actually touched on that at the beginning of her speech. She gave her audience a little bit of a roadmap of where they were going to go. And that can be whether it's 3 steps, 2 keys, whatever it is that it might be. So I would suggest giving a roadmap to the audience at the beginning. It makes it easier for the audience to follow you and know what it is that you're going to cover through your presentation. Now, to challenge yourself. This might be a stretch. I know that informational presentations, they are your strength. They are your forte. The purpose of this particular project was actually to be inspirational, not informational. I would challenge you by saying, for your next presentation, don't use slides. Use stories. Draw the audience in. You had 2 little stories in your speech. One was about your buddies at the gym, and the other one was about imposter syndrome and your experience with that. Those are 2 stories that you could dig in much deeper with. How did you feel? What does it mean to you to have buddies at the gym to work through or to work with? Imposter syndrome. What was your experience of that? There's more content in the email that I will send you. Again, there's some things you did really well. There's some things I feel that you can try for future. And then I've thrown you a fairly big challenge that might stretch you and take you a bit outside of your comfort zone. But I know that you are willing to accept those challenges and continue to grow and stretch yourself. Thank you very much. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Deborah. That was a very specific evaluation and good you analyze the speech very well. The IU ratio is something which most world champions say, that whenever you write a speech, you go through and check the I and you, how many times it is. Well, 60 to 70% it should be you, and only 20 to 30% should be I. And one thing which I like today about Brahm that I will just mention was his energy when he was giving his speech. Today, to me, he appeared like a speaker, but today I saw an extra energy and extra effort from Brahm that I want to be a speaker and I want you to get this information. And you rightly challenged him to miss the slides next time. I keep telling him this always. Thank you very much, Deborah. That was amazing evaluation. Ladies and gentlemen, our next evaluator says that about the theme, to know, to be aware, to respond appropriately and humanly, according to him, is proactive leadership. Please put your hands together to welcome our sanguine Sundar Subramaniam to evaluate Carine. Sundar.
Thank you, General Evaluator. Toastmaster Carine, be creative. And when you are helpless to be creative, how the nature makes it happen when your thirst to be creative is alive. Your story was a rebirth time, and the storytelling was a non-fiction, persuasive story. You narrated an incident that happened at the age of 8 and had 3 main characters and 3 environments of it. One was your teacher, second was your mom, third is yourself, and then the school, the home, and the library. The way you developed the speech, structured it, and presented it, outstanding, and you did it by standing. That was too good. You started by asking a question. Have you ever been in a difficult situation? And ending it, quote from Albert Einstein, creativity is intelligence having fun. In your speech, you got to know that moms are moms and take additional care. And when you wanted to be helpful and the teacher rejects the story given by your mom and the teacher didn't give you the instructions, that challenged you and wanted you to take charge, and as a proactive way that asked for help, that will help you to become the story writer, the storyteller. And you did become the storyteller with an inspiration by hearing the fables, fairy tales, fantasy stories, and the fictions from the library. What I learned from your story is the challenges are for us to get better, and the inspirations we get that connects us can lead us to overcome the challenges to win more in our lives. You wanted me to observe and report on eye contact, Zoom presence, and vocal variety. I observe and appreciate your Zoom presence, eye contact, the personal story, presenting the speech by standing, the opening, the structure, and the closing. However, I want you to take up this challenge too. That is vocal variety, where you had brought in the variety in your voice when you presented the teacher and your mom, right? Because the story had the scope and space for little drama and for the vocal variety. You could have spoken in your teacher's voice. Oh, this is not the story. I don't think this is your real story. Someone has written it for you. Or as a mom, Carine, I have written it for you. I have taken care of everything. So you could have brought in that variety. I'm trying, but I have been there. So that's one, if you take care as a challenge in your future quizzes, that would be great. Being creative starts with becoming creative, and you have done it well with blending your personal experience for this project and the elements to be eligible for a story. The type is rebirth, and a persuasive non-fiction, with a clear flow, a challenge, a twist, a struggle, a vision to overcome the challenge and the struggle, the positive end, just a bit of drama and the modulations based on the characters to be considered. Back to you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Sundar. So your suggestions, the vocal variety, you actually gave a demonstration, and that's how an evaluation should be done. When you point out something to be improved, you demonstrated how it could have been done. The second, Zoom presence, I would beg to differ a little bit because still, in spite of getting few feedbacks from the previous meetings, I believe, Carine, your eye contact with the lens means your laptop is not at the same level at the lens. So you're still looking down. So I would recommend that take a carton box or anything and put it at the shoulder level where we can feel that we are talking to you like face to face and you're not looking down. That would be a challenge given to you. And relax your facial muscle. We like you. Don't stare and kill people. Just be relaxed. You have an amazing smile. Let us feel that in your next speech. Thank you very much, Toastmaster Sundar, for all the valuable suggestions. Now, our next evaluator, she says about the theme, by definition, leader is the one who leads. Hence, proactiveness is imperative. Please put your hands together to welcome our dewdrop, Sabnam. Toastmaster Sabnam, the screen is yours.
Your definition of my name I got hooked to it. A sense of humor is a major defense against minor defects. President, fellow Toastmaster, Mr. General Evaluator, and especially Toastmaster Sandra, good evening once again. Toastmaster Sandra began with the speech title itself, Must We Be Funny All the Time? And she answered it immediately, yes. She took us on a roller coaster ride, as far as I'm concerned, of how humor at times of difficulty, problems, or grief can help us all. She actually explained it through 3 to 4 different situations from her life, and to show the importance of how humor is important in her own life. The message that laughter and dignity should stay together was loud and clear. What stood out for me was the use of quotes. There were approximately 4 quotes used, the first one, humor is an affirmation of dignity, a declaration of man's superiority to all that befalls him, by Romain Gary. Secondly, the exercise by the visionary leader, that is something that even we can use to calm ourselves, especially in doing evaluations with such great evaluators today. Also, the instance of funeral, because whenever there is a death in a family, After a day or so, people actually laugh the hardest. And I have myself experienced it over the period of time. And I thought that, yes, my family is the weirdest for doing so. But I'm really, at ease today. Now, I do have some suggestions for her. Number one, your Zoom presence. I always emphasize in all these past meetings that your background should be plain clear. If you do not have it, if you're in a place where it's not possible, use a virtual background. Secondly, and yes, one more thing. Whenever you're looking at your screen, try looking at the lens above your screen, the camera. In that way, this audience will feel that you're looking directly at them. When you're looking at the screen at yourself, we lose your eye contact. We need to have that. Voice modulation. Voice modulation is very important, specifically in a humorous speech. Why? Because there was instances of when you were discussing about the leader that he said, imagine you're a tree. Use some voice modulation. Imagine you are a tree. Immediately, people will have that calming effect. Third, pauses. Now, this is something which even I struggle with, and it is of most importance in a humorous speech, in order to entice, in order to give place for people to laugh. Okay, now we are pausing. Maybe this is the place where audience is supposed to laugh. So yes, great content, great examples of how laughter was used in various situations. Just work at your Zoom presence, look at the lens directly, use some voice modulation and pauses. With that, over to you and all the best for your future speeches.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shabnam. So I like the way you structured your evaluation. You spoke about used the sandwich method. You called about the Zoom presence and in an online meeting, the lens is the eyes. Correct, exactly. That we don't look down on whoever is there on the screen. The lens is the eye. One simple technique for everyone to do that: just stare at a lens, put a timer for 3 minutes. I did that because it is very challenging to look at the lens. So do that 2 or 3 minutes, 3 or 4 times in a day. It will become a habit. And of course, you gave a nice voice modulation demonstration over there. Pause is a technique. The message is always in the silence received by the audience. Very valuable suggestion. Thank you very much, Toastmaster Shabnam, for that. Now, our next evaluator is someone who did not give me the introduction because he is doing 2 roles, I believe, today. But he's someone we all will associate with something that is lightning quick. Please put your hands together for welcoming lightning quick Ray to evaluate Toastmaster Hannah. Toastmaster Ray, the screen is yours.
Thank you very much, Vinod. Hannah and I talked about what should I evaluate in her speech. What was her message? Did the vocal variety and body language support that message? In this visionary presentation of her speaking style, she opened up with the baby crying as an example of communications. And then toward the end of the speech, she repeated that. And I liked how she let some pauses sink in with the audience. I presented a thought, and I'm going to let that sink in with you. Overall, I loved how this speech was delivered. I loved how Hannah expressed how she felt. Sometimes how she tilted her head to give us a hint that this is an important point. As if to invite us, the audience, about how she felt. If she feels like this, how will the audience should feel the same way. And I loved how she stepped up to emphasize points and to share those feelings. And some great quotes. I bust my cocoon, senior citizen complex, and my personal favorite, chatterbox. I love the summary that brought back the crying baby and left a challenge to the audience. I was a bit challenged on trying to figure out how could I, as an evaluator, suggest improvements. This is more of a challenge than an improvement, but this is something that I think is important. For sure to use your body language to really exaggerate a little bit about how you feel. Like when your friend betrayed you and all of a sudden the chatterbox was no longer a chatterbox. Maybe just slump the shoulders a bit to express disappointment or even withdrawal. Just remember to use vocal variety and body language to exaggerate a little bit about how you feel. The highest of highs and the lowest of lows. And that is one of the challenges. I also noticed that there was feedback about your speech. Well done. And sometimes when you get feedback, take your time to digest the food of feedback in your head. You don't want to get indigestion in your mind. But these are all great feedback suggestions. Overall, I enjoyed the speech. I love that you used the words to paint the picture. And I found it to be supportive and initiating as your primary communication styles. Until the next time, over to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ray. A well-structured evaluation with proper opening, what was good. I like the point of improvement because that's one thing, like if you had not picked on, I would have definitely recommended the body language to be more expressive, expressing with the body. Good example of shoulders dropping down. Very nicely done. Thank you very much for that valuable. And I believe, Hannah, you have got something to do for the next speech. So our next evaluator is going to evaluate our fifth speaker. So please put your hands together. A new member who is doing double role. Give her double round of applause. Please put your hands together to welcome Nimble Nakowi Nkosi. I hope I am pronouncing the word correctly. Please welcome Nakowi on the screen. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Greetings, fellow Toastmasters and guests, and a special greeting to Toastmaster Asif. Thank you so much for delivering such an important speech. You know, I wish you can have a video where you can post it back to social media so that so many people can learn out of it and stop degrading themselves because of what they post. So your speech is so relevant in our current lives and situations, which shows that you are a visionary leader. Thank you so much for such a speech. In terms of your awareness of your audience, I applaud you there. You were well informed. You were so comfortable. You knew what you were talking about, which means you've taken some time to do your research prior your presentation. In terms of your gestures, I just want to challenge you there. I understand that you were seated. Should you have been standing, you might have shown a lot of them and in a proper way. Your speech was so relevant as well to the theme of today, because as a proactive leader, you need to know as to what are your action yield. You need to take care of that prior doing anything. But I just want to challenge you that next time, try to bring your speech home by including things that are relevant to you or that will be too practical for everybody to follow. For instance, you should have told us as to how did a social media added value to you as a person, If ever you know somebody that might have lost something because of the way they've used social media, you should have brought that for us. I like the fact that you've reminded us that whatever that one post to social media is what gives other people a perception of how and who they are. And by reminding us that a social media is an extension image of every person that uses the social media. Thank you so much for delivering a well-researched speech, and I've loved the way you were comfortable in terms of delivering it. All the best in all the other speeches that will follow after this one. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Nakove, for that evaluation. And you implicitly mentioned a lot of things, that the speech type was informational, and even in your suggestion, it was not explicit but implicit, that you could have used stories of some people and given an example that this person used this and something happened related to that. You were really very soft and very nice to Asif. Thank you very much for that. But one thing I would like to tell Asif is, break that shackles. Like it comes across that you come across as an instructor or a professor of a university. I would challenge you to loosen up your body the next time and use some creativity to find how you can use your body language and vocal variety. Thank you very much, Nikowe, for that. Now let's go to the last speaker, who actually was the first speaker on the agenda. But I would be welcoming Toastmaster Bindu to please evaluate Toastmaster Nicole. Toastmaster Bindu.
Am I audible?
Yes.
First of all, congratulations, my speaker, Toastmaster Nicole. You know what I really liked about your speech? I can put it in 3 sentences. One is that you had really proven that you have achieved the 5th need of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So, and that you were expressing it as self-actualization. Wow. I really congratulate you for that. And you have illustrated your goal by saying that I have to improvise on my speaking ability. Not only that, I am a member of my community club and I want to improvise their level. Wow, a selfless, a relentless leader you are. And you had brought about your vision, telling that in the process of wandering for a place of self-actualization, you have reached leadership speak. And this is the ideal place for you to nurture and foster your goals. Wow, what a great vision you are, and you are a visionary leader. I really want you to do something which can make you be a better speaker. And one thing is that you had always demonstrated your self-actualization goals. But from what we could infer was about your present and the future, your past, the first 4 needs of Maslow's. If you could highlight in 1 to 2 words about your, struggles and pains in achieving the first 4 needs, it would have been really bad. I would really challenge you to look straight away into the lens, because your Zoom presence was not that good. The speech was awesome, the content was good, but the delivery, it had some defect in the sense that, as everybody is saying, lens of this, the eyes were the lens and we were not looking at it. We were not able to see your facial expression or your gestures. We could really synchronize your, the goal, the self-actualization goals. And we want really to see you when you were telling that you were literally unstoppable in achieving your goal, as well as to translate the things that you've learned from leadership speak to your community club. To summarize, a wonderful speech, especially an icebreaker speech. Wow, amazing. If you could incorporate the Zoom presence, it is really an icing on the cake. Congratulations, and I'm looking forward to wonderful speeches from you, because over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Bindu, for taking that role at the last minute and giving a very good, offering piece of advice, feedback. One about the Zoom presence that you have mentioned. What I observed was, Nicole, you are a speaker who has the ability to actually impact. The words that you were using, the pronunciation and the enunciation, the way you were speaking, I somehow felt that you are a very powerful speaker. So good on that. One thing I would request you to, do is, this was an icebreaker. I wanted to know more about you. The club members wanted to know more about you. Apart from the self-actualization part and the Toastmaster goals, in an icebreaker, I would always love something that we can share something about our personal life with the club members. So that was the only thing that I felt. And I just, there is actually one more evaluator. I wanted to know whether everybody is paying attention. So I took the evaluator in between. So thank you very much that everybody is paying attention. Many direct messages to me. This is the way I cover my mistake. Okay. So the next evaluator is going to be Claudette Thomas, who will be evaluating Lydia. So please put your hands together to welcome our candidate, Claudette.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters guests, and especially Lydia, the visionary about climate change. Thank you, Lydia. Your story was unique. I felt it also inspirational and informative about climate change. And it's such a relevant topic in today's world. You used the tale of the hummingbird, the giant animals in the forest, and the fire to demonstrate how climate change is affecting us all. You excel at your storytelling skills, how you combine the two stories to tell us about climate change, and using the hummingbird and the animals. You also told us what we can do to prevent it, and how you and 300, or a few of your friends, planted over 300 trees to deal with the issue. So there were excellent takeaways as to what we can do. You told us to recycle more, going green, walking more, and this will reduce the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere and to become like the hummingbird. I like that analogy. Lydia, your speech, I felt, was well structured. You had your opening, which you repeated the title of the speech, the body, and your supporting information you gave were effective. So I believe the speech flowed well. And your great quote that you interwoven in the speech by the professor. Nature is unforgiving. And when you destroy it, it will destroy you. Your delivery, you had some effective gestures. Your pitch and pause and pace were effective. You used good language to demonstrate your story. I felt your Zoom presence were good. You had good lighting. Again, what I would suggest, and you may want to consider, probably using a plain background or background where your gestures, your meaningful gestures, are not absorbed in the background, which prevented us from seeing them. Also, consider probably giving us one takeaway. You had several takeaways. So if you can consider one that we can work on, and probably a little bit more vocal variety at times to emphasize your message. To summarize, Lydia, you were effective with your storytelling skills, the message was effective, and your gestures. And Lydia, please consider incorporating some of these feedback, and your speech was inspiring And the takeaway for me was the professor, nature is unforgiving. And when you destroy it, it will destroy you. Thank you, Lydia. Congratulations. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Claudette. And you mentioned about the Zoom presence and the message of the speech. It should be at least one takeaway, one clear takeaway, because when there are more takeaway, the paradox of choice comes, which we should take home. And you mentioned two things. One is vocal variety. Then you mentioned pitch, pause, and pace. I would have loved if you would have given a demonstration of that. Other than that, I believed it was a very well structured evaluation. You gave the speech type, information, and all this thing, and you mentioned two very good words, that you had a structure, you supported that structure, and the speech had a flow. So I liked both the words, that you supported with evidence and used, there was a good transition over there. So thank you very much, Toastmaster Claudette. So next, I would like to welcome our grammarian, who is very carefully jotting down all the notes of what is happening today. So please put your hands together for our grammarian, John. Toastmaster John.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, guests, and visitors. Here is my grammarian report for this meeting. First, the word of the usage of the word of the day. The word of the day is visionary as well as the related word vision. It was used at least 17 times. And congratulations to all the users. Nicole used it 5 times. Youselee and Sandra used it 3 times. Brahm, Claudette, and Hannah used it twice. And Winner used it once. Congratulations to all of you. Now to the usage of our language. I did not hear, or I did not pick any improper language. Instead, I had lots of eloquent speeches, words, quotes, and statements that in the interest of time, I will just list a few. First, I will start with the last, which again caught my attention, which is by Vinod. He said, message is in the silence, which I like very much. Now to our humorist, Sandra, who said, a sense of humor is a major defense against minor problems. Humor helps to get us through tough times in life. And ended, humor is the actual affirmation of dignity and declaration of man's superiority. What great quotes. To Anna, wow, he said, communication is a lifeline of love. Let communication be your lifeline. Communication is the alpha and omega of success stories. Thank you for those wonderful quotes. And now to Lydia, it says, nature is unforgiving. And when you destroy it, it will destroy you. Don't forget about those wonderful quotes. Thank you for those excellent quotes, thoughts, words. Fellow Toastmasters, back to you, Mr. Vinod.
Thank you very much, Jovial John, for that wonderful grammarian segment. Now I will present my general evaluation in 1.5 minutes. Timer, just time me for 90 seconds. So overall, the meeting today, the Toastmaster of the day logged in the WhatsApp group 25 minutes before she said the meeting has started. Means the link is here, the meeting is open, and everybody should be there. So she was very well prepared. Our Surgeon at Arms, Nakove, to the dot, started at 5:30 p.m. UAE time, and she went through and gave a good intro to our Toastmaster of the day. The past international president was acknowledged. A good, like what is, my being a state of presence, that you are, who is there in the meeting. Now, what I would suggest quickly is, when I went through the titles of the speeches, okay, this is a challenge to everyone. take charge, where are you going, be creative, why add humor, communicating the live social media strategy. Now, when I see this titles, I know what the speech is. Now, Brahm is running a 7 minutes challenge, and one of the key thing over there is to have a hook. One such speech that had a hook was Hummingbird, because we didn't knew what was coming and climate change came in, right? So I would challenge the entire members of the club to focus also on the title of the speech, where, for example, take charge can be the drift, or hands in the, like what you say, no, on the steering wheel, something like that. Why add humor? Major defense and minor trouble, something. There were many amazing things which will not give away, because I don't know about you, but for me, when I see the title and I know what is going to be said, 20% of my mind goes off, right? So I think for you also it would be similar. So try to create that curiosity with the title. So this is one challenge that I would like to give all our members. Other than that, I believe only the Toastmaster of the day, there was a speaker change in the agenda. One or two speech titles were different. You mentioned it in a different way. I can understand because there were a lot of things. But other than that, an amazing meeting, an amazing proactive leadership from our Toastmaster of the day. Let us give her a big round of applause, everyone. So I would request our timer to share the timing report and put it on the chat. And with that, I would hand the screen back to our Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Youselee.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator, Toastmaster Vinod. Now I ask the Zoom Master to please launch the poll for the best evaluator. Thank you all for coming. Now I will call Toastmaster. Oh, no. Can you share, please? Can you share the result once again, please? Oh. Right. Thank you. It's a little bit funny.
Well done, everybody. We're knocking it out of the park. Way to go.
Congratulations to all evaluators today. Congratulations. Now I will call Toastmaster Hannah Schmidt to present the thought on the theme.
As a proactive leader, do you make a promise that you cannot keep? The answer should be no. Or do you inspire your team to loyalty? That answer should be yes. Proactive leadership is about effective communication, motivation, and reaching a common goal. Proactive communicators communicate their ideas and work together with a team to achieve that ultimate goal. How do we become a proactive leader? And what should I look out for? Proactive leaders take up the responsibility. They have great communication skills and are extremely goal-oriented. They are extremely good listeners and support. Now they inspire the team in whichever way they can. At Leadership Speak, our proactive leaders see the greater picture and make things happen. They motivate us to become better, and we are inspired to take charge, as Brahm has mentioned. That is why we are in the top 5 in the Toastmasters ranking. Our members are organized and they know when to ask for help and advice. And our leaders react with compassion, loyalty, and integrity and communicate their messages clearly and effectively. Octavia Spencer says, the way to bring about change is to be proactive and active. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Hannah. Now I will give the award for today's meeting. The best speaker for today is Toastmaster Hannah Schmidt. Please help me applaud our best speaker for today. Congratulations, Toastmaster Hannah. And the best evaluators today Toastmaster Deborah Walker, Sabnam Saiyed, Rozy Rana, and Claudette Thomas. Congratulations to all of you. Congratulations to the evaluators. I think today you all did a wonderful job. So it was not easy for the audience to choose just one. Congratulations to all of you. Thank you all for coming today. I really appreciate your presence here at Leadership Speak, especially at this meeting. All of our speeches were fit to the theme of today's meeting, from the toast to the icebreaker. We have had some relevant information on lead by example or taking charge, whether in our personal or professional life or for the benefit of the climate. How to use social media with intention and use good communication skills and our creativity to become great leaders. And don't forget to add humor in all of that. Thanks to all role players. And now I give the lead to the president of the club, Toastmaster Muhammad Azif Said.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Youselee, for steering this meeting with your proactive leadership skills. Obviously, being proactive is very important, a key skill for being a leader, because you want to go an extra mile. Now, in today's world where there's a lot of ambiguity and things are changing at a rapid pace, it's very important to take actions proactively, and that's what is being practiced at Leadership Speak. And our motto here is how we can be self-directed leader. Now, being self-directed leader, meaning is that we don't want people to come back and tell you something to do. It's only then when you will be doing something. Everybody over here at Leadership Speak is encouraged to be proactive, anticipate what kind of action needs to be taken, whether it's taking up roles or informing attendance or being present at meetings, participating in our club meeting, different events are it's very, very important to be proactive, and that's where people value your efforts. Now, in today's meeting, Brahm shared his wisdom, how we can be proactive by taking charge, and he shared his various suggestions. And more importantly, all of our speakers as well and the evaluators shared their knowledge and their experience. Thank you very much, General Evaluator Vinod, for leading the general evaluation session and adding a lot of inputs on how we can be a better evaluator as well. Now, every meeting of our the leadership speak demonstrates that how we are well organized and how we anticipate and take actions to make our meetings more structured, as well as, more importantly, how we make them engaging in a digital world. At Leadership Speak, it's very, very important that we build an environment of collaboration and camaraderie, because you see, we have members from all over the world, and that's what Leadership Speak stands for. It's very important. Today we saw how many of our members today were judged as best evaluators. Congratulations to our best speaker. Congratulations to the best evaluators for adding value to our club meetings. Every week, we are dissecting a leadership challenge, and we dwell upon all aspects of that particular challenge. And today we will dwell upon our today's theme being proactive leadership. With this, we are coming to an end of our today's meeting. So while I'll be adjourning this meeting, I encourage everyone to participate and being active in the club meetings, as well as take up whatever kind of roles you can take up, so that you are proactive. Nobody has to push you, and you're always, being seen on the ground that you're ready to take up challenges. We have seen many of our members have been really taking a lot of efforts in PR relationship and Zoom Master and those aspects, which are critical to running a Toastmasters meeting on a digital platform. So with this, I'll request my Zoom Master to stop the recording, and I will be adjourning this meeting. And soon we're going to, be talking to our guests after we adjourn this meeting, so that we can come and we can understand from them their experience about our meeting.